I am Heather from booktubes and my brand is DNFing. So I wanted to kind of make a defensive DNF video. I have had this on my list for a while, but I had some recent thoughts and moved it up on the schedule. Let's get into kind of my own personal DNF philosophy. Let me preface this by saying that I don't care how you read. Your personal reading habits are entirely up to you. Your personal reading rating scale is entirely up to you. I don't care. So if I'm talking smack about something that you do, understand that I don't actually think that that makes you a bad anything. Like, I don't care. More power to you. If your entire reading philosophy is the complete opposite of mine, that's fine. We can both enjoy what we like about reading. Don't care. So first of all, DNFs for me are not worse than a 1 star. They have a lot of their own hierarchy, which only lives in my head and none of you know about because I don't explain my reason for DNFing books on Goodreads or in videos or any of the things, because I don't talk about DNFs in my videos. I do list how many I DNF'd, but if I DNF'd a book, it doesn't go in my wrap up. Now, if I was talking about reading it in a vlog or whatever, obviously it's included in that blog, in that video. But overall, I obviously don't recommend books that I DNF'd, except for that one time. creepy videos here. I DNF'd that. There was one book that I recommended that I DNF'd. So I don't recommend books that I DNF'd. It doesn't objectively mean that they are bad, but I don't talk about them on my channel for the most part. I just say I DNF'd books, which happens all the time. Or a DNF is not automatically below a 1 star. In fact, for me, a DNF that would have been 3 stars, 2 stars, or 1 stars is no big deal to me. And honestly, like, even if it would have been 5 stars, I DNF'd it. What do I care? I don't know. I do not have FOMO about books that I DNF'd at all whatsoever. You know, they didn't keep my attention, and that's it. I don't have to be like, but what if it got really good at the end? I don't care. There are other books that were good the whole time, or that were really good at the end, but I actively was reading to the end. I don't care if I DNF a book. I just don't. So one reason why I DNF books is I don't owe books anything. You don't owe it to me to watch my videos. You don't owe it to me to watch to the end of this video. And I don't owe it to books to spend my time reading them. They are literally there for my entertainment. And if they're not doing the entertaining, I can just stop. I don't know why we have this elitist view about reading where it's like, but reading is intellectual and superior and important. And like, those things can be true, but ultimately, like, reading for me is a hobby and it's entertainment, and it's not superior to any other method that you would use to consume information or stories, and it's not an elitist thing. A book can be from my favorite author and I will DNF. A book can be really good and I will DNF if I just don't feel like reading it on a random Tuesday. I don't have to justify why I'm DNFing a book to myself or to anybody else, but more specifically to myself. I don't have to have a great reason. I just have to not feel like reading it right now. That's good enough for me. If I want to pick it up again, which honestly is rare, I actually have a vlog about picking up books that I DNF'd, but it's not very often. In fact, I can't think of a single time that I've actually DNF'd a book and then picked it back up and gave it 5 stars or even like 4 stars. I know my reading taste really well, and I do have a video. Look at me plugging in all the videos. I do have a video about books I almost DNF'd and loved, but I ultimately didn't DNF them. I thought about it, but I didn't do it. And I just don't know of one that I've actually DNF'd and then picked up and was like, this was amazing. What was I doing? That hasn't happened for me personally up to this point. So my different types of DNFs. I didn't feel like reading it that day, right? The writing was bad. It was obviously poor quality and I wasn't going to enjoy the book. Something stressed me out. That is a reason for me to DNF. Something made me mad or offended me. I will not really hate read books. If I'm kind of hate reading, it's because it's still compulsively readable, and it happens like a couple of times a year, maybe. Like, it's not very often that I'm like, this book is getting a sucky rating and I can't stop reading it anyways. Other reasons that I might DNF: a change of mood. Even like my stress level that has nothing to do with the book, it can be a reason why I DNF. Especially if, you know, I'm wanting to read and I'm not reading and I haven't picked up books for a couple of days, I will often just DNF all my currently reading books and start fresh, because clearly they weren't doing it for me because I couldn't convince myself to read for multiple days while reading them. So really, I have no criteria for when or if I DNF. If I feel like doing it, I do. I know a lot of people try to give it like the 50% mark or the 100-page or the 50-page. Heck no. I will DNF on the first page. I will DNF on the last chapter. I do not freaking care. I DNF all the time. I just DNF'd a book on like the second page yesterday. I officially DNF'd it. But the day before is when I'd read it. And like, I then spent 24 hours not reading anything. I was like, you know what? I don't care about this. Goodbye. I think that some people really do look at DNFs as it was so bad I literally couldn't finish it. And that's just not true for me. That is not how it works. And I know she was just talking smack, like Izzy understands the culture of DNFs, but she'll say that I DNF too quickly, and I just disagree. Like, I don't care if I DNF'd right at the beginning. I don't care about giving books a fair shot. Like, that's not the requirement for me. I'm not hiring you for a job. On the one hand, I'm an influencer, a book influencer, right? So ultimately, if I like your book, that does mean that I talk about it quite a bit to a lot of people, more than I would in just my day-to-day life. But I don't ultimately owe your book a chance at all. And just because I picked it up doesn't mean that I owe your book a chance. Obviously, this is also kind of easier for me because I don't spend a lot of money on books. I read mostly from my library and from Kindle Unlimited. So if I don't like a book on the first page, it's literally no big deal. I just return it. It didn't cost me anything except that time. It didn't cost me anything more than what I was already paying to read other books, right? But this can also be a reason why I struggled to pick up ebooks that I did buy, because I'm just like, what if I hate it? I wasted my money. I get like very offended about this. I think it comes from growing up poor and being a reader all my life and being like, I wasted my book shot on this book. I don't know. Yeah, I can literally DNF a book for any reason. I have DNF'd so many of like the most popular books. And I'm fine with that. Pick me. No. But yeah, there's a huge, and honestly, Goodreads will not, I swear to God, I wonder if it would be easier if I was on a laptop, but Goodreads like will not play nice with me. They keep adding my DNFs to my reading challenge, and then I just delete the book completely from my bookshelf so it's not messing up my reading challenge. I DNF all the time. Overall, DNFing books, quitting at any point, at any time, for any reason, not having to force myself to give them a shot or to continue because I picked it up. All of these things make my reading so much more enjoyable. So much more enjoyable. I don't have to force myself to read a book that I didn't like just because I said I was going to read it. A lot of times, especially for booktubers, or if you're just a reader in general, the only one you made the commitment to was yourself. The world's not going to fall apart if you don't finish that book just because you said you were going to read it. I said I was going to do an emotional reading blog this month. Guess who was not in the mood to do an emotional reading blog this month? It didn't happen. Are you guys going to unsubscribe? Maybe. I don't know. But for the most part, people understand that not every idea that comes into your head is infallible and will absolutely happen on the timeline that you said it would. Same thing with books. I said I was going to read that. I didn't. Whoop-de-doo. I started it and didn't like it. Oh well. And ultimately, I think that it's better for authors if we DNF, because for me, a DNF isn't rated except for like one. That offended me so badly. I was like, this is trash. But anywho, I don't rate my DNFs, and again, I don't trash them on my channel because I really don't talk about them. So picking up a book and realizing it's not for you and just moving on by is great. I know For me as a content creator, I want viewers who want to watch the things that I'm making. I'm not trying to fake anything to get people to like the fake me, because that sounds exhausting. And I would like for people to like me for me and the books that I actually like, and the method of communication and portrayal, like the vibe that I give. If you don't like sarcasm, my channel is probably not for you, and that's okay. The world is full of people who don't like sarcasm. You know, I want people who want to watch what I want to make, because then we can all have fun. I don't want to make content that I hate so that other people who didn't like the same thing as me in the first place will like my content. Same thing with authors and books. If I am not the person for your book, let me DNF it and move on, and somebody else is gonna give it 5 stars. Like every book, I swear, has somebody that's like, this is the best thing I've ever read. Even though sometimes you're just like side-eyeing them, like, it was really bad though. But reading taste is subjective, and so if I DNF your favorite book, that does not mean that you have terrible taste, and it doesn't mean that I have terrible taste. It just means maybe I didn't come to it at the right time, or maybe it's just not for me, and that's fine. I really like watermelon flavored candy. Not everybody does. Some people like disgusting flavors like orange and grape. More power to you. Anyways, I would love to hear your feedback on this. What are your DNFing habits? Do you have to justify it to yourself? Are you a completionist, somebody who must finish the book? It's either because that's just what you like to do, or because your brain won't let you not finish it. I would be interested in hearing any criteria, any opinions, and yeah, if you want to take shots at me for DNFing, that's cool too. Thanks for watching. Bye!